No more doubts, I'm feeling alive. With every mile I leave the past behind, say and drive. This is my state of mind.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another interesting episode of Sanity podcast, where we try to bridge the gap between complex brain facts and daily wellness and practices. Episode this month is focusing on nutrition and neuroscience, and this time we're kind of targeting the practical applications that we could have for nutrition towards brain health, improving our brain health. And to discuss this very important topic, which speaks to fueling our neural network, I'm joined by two special guests, Dr. Obarisiagbon and Ifeoma Judith Obiefule. These are very bulky people, if there is anything like that in English, and also I'll leave them to introduce themselves. Ifeoma, you can go ahead.
Okay, thank you so much, and I'm so glad to be here, and I really appreciate it. All right, so for short, I'm called Coach J, and I like to carry health matters on my head, and as it relates to nutrition. Firstly, I'm a certified nutrition and health coach, and I am also an entrepreneur. Like, I own my own nutrition and wellness consultancy, and then I'm also a lecturer in one of the top leading universities. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Ifeoma. Dr. E?
I'm Dr. Obarisiagbon. He's Chief Medical Officer at Edo State Specialist Hospital in Nigeria. I have my own private facility too. I'm happy to join you.
Thank you so much, Ifeoma and Dr. Uyi, for these are very, very busy people, and I have to let it out there, and for making out time to also join in educating people and also reaching out to the community. Again, I will just start right away, and then we'll just jump right into the question. I'll start with you, Ifeoma, and there is a popular saying that we are what we eat. Being a nutritionist, how does what we eat end up affecting our brain's daily performance?
Awesome question, and thank you for that. So what we eat, it's very paramount in terms of affecting our brain health, and we are very aware that there's a powerhouse in our head, which is our brain, and I would say it's very fragile in the sense that whatever goes in, can alter or make it function in its best. And I would just like to explain this in the lamest of terms, that if you take something that is bad, you put it near another thing that is good, with time, trust me, is going to get spoiled or corrupted. So that's the same thing. If your brain has been created good, because in the beginning God created the brain good and he said it was very good, and you decide to feed it with things that is not supposed to be, with time is going to go bad. And let me bring that to the basis of this question, which is what we eat. So what we eat can affect our brain in terms of the energy levels, the brain function, in terms of the neurotransmitters that it receives, in terms of the health and its total function as a whole. So that means that because the brain actually works on glucose, which is the fuel, just the same way your petrol works for your car. So if you are taking excess glucose or food that are high in sugar, what it then means is that you are, we like to say, you are over-exciting the receptors that you're not supposed to. It could lead to brain fatigue or brain crash or some other brain destructions that can be very detrimental in the long run. So, but whether you take a very healthy meal, rich and dense in nutrients, and then fruits and vegetables, what it then does is that it improves the brain secretion, the neurotransmitters it secretes, and all of the dopamine, serotonin that helps to regulate your mood, improves your focus, and the rest of it. It just keeps the brain at the peak of its function, and then it works perfectly. So with that, I believe you can actually get convinced that whatever we take can either make or mar the brain function. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much, Ifeoma. That was spot on. And I want to leverage on this point you just made, talking about the good and the bad way we can eat and make it influence our brain function. I'll turn this over to you, Dr. Wee. Based on your own experience, you interact with patients day in, day out, and there are some common things you would have experienced or seen. I want to take it on the poor nutrition now part, leveraging on the point Ifeoma just made. What common ways do you think poor nutrition could impact our brain function?
Okay, thank you very much. The brain can be likened to a computer, just like Ifeoma said. Computer, garbage in, garbage out. The brain is a living cell, okay, and feeds majorly on glucose, but also desires vitamins and some omega-3 that can support it. So majorly, poor nutrition will affect growth. Good nutrition makes the cells to grow more, and the synaptic fire will be better. Okay, that means quicker impulses. So when you also have poor nutrition, this can also impact on the mood of the individual. Such mood disorders like anxiety, neurosis, depression have actually been linked to poor nutrition. As a matter of fact, cognitive function is also very important. If you do not eat the right food or there's poor nutrition, that can impact negatively on the cognitive function. When talking about cognitive function, we're talking about the orientation, the memory, attention, concentration, etc., and even intelligence. So poor feeding is actually a misnomer. For the brain to function very well, it needs the right nutrients. And that right nutrients can be gotten only through adequate feeding. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I will try to drag you in more a bit, also based on your experience and interaction with people and patients. Which one of these symptoms or effect do you see more often in your practice that is connected to poor nutrition?
Okay, majorly the cognitive functions, the orientation. You could be disoriented if you do not feed properly. Okay, the memories can also be affected, especially in cases of neurodegenerative diseases. Like you find the elderly, you probably realize that the elderly usually, maybe because of social factors and otherwise, they do not, and biological factors, they do not take adequate amount. So in the elderly, you find them usually coming down with cases like dementia or acute confusional states. Yes. Also, people who do not eat well, with particular reference to the diabetics now, maybe because of what they consume. They consume food that has high glycemic index, which can impact negatively on the brain. And so there could be vascular damage that can even result to stroke, vascular dementias, etc. Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Dr. Obi, were you trying to say something for that? I thought you were rounding up.
Oh, okay. I have a personal experience. Because I don't eat, maybe sometimes I don't eat well. My attention, my mood, cognitive functions are always affected. I tend to even grow angry more when I don't take my meals at the right time. So the nutrition has a direct impact on the brain function. Yes.
Thank you again, Dr. Obi. I will ask you a follow-up question based on that. So, but let me turn to you, Ifeoma, and this is quite interesting. I'm happy Dr. Obi mentioned something around the time he eats and the like. Is there really anything around meal timing? And if this is yes, how does it affect our brain function?
Okay, very good question. Anyway, for me, in my years of practice and have been on this journey, I've worked with so many clients for the past, this year would make it exactly 10 years because I started my practice fully in 2014 and it's been 10 years and I've got a lot of people asking that question. Actually, there is no timing to eat, but there is a timing that can affect your body metabolism as well as your brain function. So that is the more reason why we have to ask, what kind of routine do you operate on? Now, for example, the best time to actually eat, how do I put it? Some persons say breakfast is the most important meal. For me, I wouldn't really say breakfast is the most important meal because every meal is important if your goal actually, if your goal is specific. So what I would say on that is the best time to actually get the most of your body nutrient, to get the best of any food you eat is in the morning. And I usually advise my clients that between the space of 7 a.m. to 11 a.m., it is best you feed your body with micronutrients as against macronutrients. And I would explain why. Now, we all know that macronutrients are carbs, our proteins, and we have fats and oil and the rest of it. And the micronutrients are fibers, vitamins, yes, always in very little quantity. Why is that so? Why must you take micronutrients early? It is because one, they are very nutrient dense and they have lesser calories. So they do not actually need excess time in digestion. So majority of the time, if you're loading your body first thing in the morning with fruits, smoothies, veggie salad, and the rest of it, it gives your body that it helps to increase your body absorption, processes, and it gets to the brain faster because everything just, digests down into the bloodstream and then its impact goes down, right? So that is why it is important to feed your body with micronutrients earliest in the day, which is 7 to 11. Now for the night, if you're the kind of person that runs a very less active routine, that is to say you sleep early, between the hours of 9, you're already sleeping 9 p.m. You have no business eating any meal 2 hours before then, right? So it all depends on your routine. But if you have a goal to remain healthy, I would advise that you keep all your meals, that you conclude all your meals by 7 p.m., right? And if by any chance you have to stay up late because you are working or you may be famished, grab something healthy, grab another micronutrient, take a smoothie, take a salad, grab a whole fruit. If you tell me that you're hungry at night, I tell my clients, go and take a banana slice from your fridge. And before you know, we just bananas, and then probably with Greek yogurt, they are very full. So there are so many substitutes. So for me, there might be no timing, but if your routine allows you, to go up, to go to bed early, you should not eat anything 2 hours before that time, right? So that is better understood for beginners and for people who just want to kickstart a healthy lifestyle, so that, every part of their body, including their brain cells, can adapt easily without breaking down or crashing your body metabolism. Thank you. I hope I answered that.
Wow, Ifeoma, you this is free consult you're getting from you, and we are not paying. Thank you so much, Ifeoma, for that. And if you want to get down in details with Ifeoma, to get more details about dietary content planning and the likes, but I would like to follow on with this, Ifeoma. There is this part of nutrition and brain health that I want you to touch on briefly. Talking about the gut-brain microbiome, and I want you to simply explain it to us how the gut is connected to the brain, and because this is a major part of research when it comes to neuroscience and its connection to most of the diseases that we speak about today, even the ones that are not linked to the brain. So I want you to simply make some clarity on, or explain to us what the gut-brain connection simply means.
Okay, thank you for that question. Our master creator did a very perfect job in making sure that all our organs are fully holistically connected, and that includes the gut and then the brain. Now, there is a recent, research studies that have been going on the gut and then the brain connection. And I would just simply put, anatomically, right, the gut, which is, let's call the gut what people know, because a lot of people listening to this may just be hearing guts like you got guts, and they're thinking is like you got you got what was gut, like you got energy and then you're proud and you're proud. No, what we're talking about is your digestive system, especially the small intestine, yes, that have different compartments where all the food absorbs, but it actually starts, from the mouth, the buccal cavity down. Let me not start teaching anatomy, but basically, yes, your GIT is what we call gut. So the anatomical connection between the gut and the brain is simply the vagus nerve. So it is that vagus nerve, that gives that connection, that makes this conduit passage and all, the neurotransmitters and everything works in sync, right? And then, for example, there is, this happy hormones that comes when you eat healthy, especially when you load your body with nutrients in terms of eating. Both you're eating the nutrient dense food, you're taking fruits and vegetables, increase fiber intake and the rest of it, because one of the major things you need to feed your gut with, this is just an addition, is you need to eat more fibers. And you can get fibers from veggies, from vegetable, including our own Nigerian pumpkin ugu leaf. You can actually enjoy the benefits of all the fiber in that for the effective functioning of your GIT, your gut. So whenever you are eating healthy, there are happy hormones that are secreted, which, for example, include, we have serotonin, we have dopamine, and all of these hormones, they just transmit to the brain and they help in the brain function, right? So when those hormones get to the brain, it boosts its functions in terms of improving its cognitive functioning, just like Dr. Uyi mentioned initially, as well as keeping your brain energy level at its best. So that is the reason why whatever we take in invariably affects whatever the brain receives. So that is the simple connection between the gut and then the brain conduit connection. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Dr. Uyi, I wanted to just please bring in some quick facts around the science that lies behind sugar and its impact on concentration. I know you mentioned something around concentration the other time. I wanted to touch on what science lies behind sugar consumption and its impact on concentration.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, as much as we know that sugar, glucose, is important for brain function, we should also be careful with the amount of sugar we take. That was what led me to make mention of those kind of food that has high glycemic index. Okay, it's been found out that a very high sugar can cause inflammatory conditions in the brain cells. Okay, which can lead to neurodegenerative effects in the brain, because of its impact on the cognitive function, on the orientation, the mood, the attention, judgment, etc. It's also been found out that high sugar intake in the brain, high sugar level in the brain can affect the mood. Okay, can be a mood changer. Just like my colleague also said, a high sugar level in the brain can also lead to heavy release of the happy hormone, a particular reference to the dopamine now, which tends to create a sense of craving, a high craving for more sugar for such an individual, and may even lead to addiction. High sugar in the brain can also lead to insulin resistance, which has been actually linked to the type 2 diabetes mellitus. Okay, and so we find that high sugar level in the brain will lead to an overall decay in the brain function or in the brain health of the individual. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much again, Dr. Oyi. That was spot on. But I want to follow up with this. So when we talk about hydration, especially want to drink something, most of us fall the victim of just taking, let me take some sugar, let me take some soda, let me take some of these carbonated drinks. Based on your own experience and also still looking at the science of it, I want you to now help us explain what hydration, how it relates or links to brain performance. What parts should we really focus on?
Water intake and vitamins, micronutrients are very essential for the brain function. Or a particular reference to water. 70% is made up of water. 70% of the body mass is made up of water. So there's no way you can remove water out from the brain function. Ideally, about 75% of that water intake, of that water composition in the body, it's also very important for the brain function. Okay, there have been scientific studies linking dehydration to disorientation, syncopal attacks, where a person may suddenly have fainting spells, or even hypotension, which can lead to a low level of blood pressure in the patient. Hypertension, low level of water in the brain can also lead to confusion. So we find that even the cognitive function is impaired in such individuals. Thank you.
Thank you again, Dr. Oyi. Ifeoma, briefly, when it comes to taking resolution, for example, I'm making my resolution to start eating better now or eating healthy for a better brain health as a consultant. I'm not paying for this though. What one simple change do you advise or will you tell me to go for?
Okay, thank you for that question. Simply put, as a preventive healthcare advocate, the first thing I would say is start to include intentionally fruits and vegetables into your meals. And this is how you can achieve it. Swap a meal, especially if you eat 3 times a day. There are people who eat even more than 3 times a day. So swap any of those course meal with fruits and vegetable. As in, make that part of your life. Then it will become a lifestyle. The reason for this is because there's a report by WHO, and that has really, the statistics has increased because when they did that, that statistical analysis, it was in 2013, and it was reported that over 2 million deaths that are recorded globally as a result of low intake of fruits and vegetables. So if that can actually result to non-communicable disease that we're talking about, with the brain's health inclusive, one of the first things we need to do to start to improve our brain health function as well as our whole body function is to intentionally include fruits and vegetables as a meal, because that is not just a side dish, it's a main meal. It's a main meal. The only thing you need to seek advice or guidance for it is to now determine the composition of the kind of fruit to eat. But guess what? You can actually just start by eating one particular fruit in that meal. So to make it easy for you, it could just be, you take apples a day as, your bowl, or you make it into a smoothie. Or the next day you take carrots and then you turn it into a smoothie or a salad. And then like that, with that you are, safe. But you have been able to do magnificent, changes to your health and your brain health. Thank you.
Thank you, consultant. Ifeoma, that was free of charge. Thank you. I'm sure I will go into that and see how best that will work for me. I have a follow-on question for that, but before I go to that, as we are wrapping up, Dr. Uji, you represent the very, very busy class of people when it comes to career. And sometimes you don't even plan your time, it just comes. How can busy people that will be listening to you today, at least based on your own experience, be able to maintain brain healthy eating habits?
Okay. Thank you for that question. Like we always saying, Nutrients, water, they are vital for brain function. And as experts in the field, we should be advocates of such. I have personally run foul of such rules where sometimes it was at the time when I was sent to an art station in the village to work, because of busy schedule, it will be difficult to even take a meal, a breakfast, until around 2 p.m. That almost became a norm until I was posted to Benin. My wife was irritated. You are the doctor and you know what the right things to do. So obviously, so I started changing. So I will give particular times to her. What is important is that she is a working class too. But what I do usually now in the mornings, I don't fail to go without fruits. Okay, so I'll take my fruit and take a glass of water before I move on. The work is tasking. So how are you going to get energy? How is your brain going to function if you don't put something in the mouth? Just like Dr. Ify said, that 7 a.m. or 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. is so important. Where the energy reserve is low, you need to fill it up and get ready for the day's activity. So for the lunch, what I do is I now have a timer. my phone beeps, so like 30 minutes before the time, so that I have enough time, 30 minutes interval. When it beeps, I know I have like 30 minutes when I should actually take my meals. It has to be deliberate. And for us to live, because like I said before, the brain is a living structure. So for us to live, we must learn to feed it. That's the little I do. But I don't play water.
That was big.
Very important.
That was big. So hydration and being conscious of your dietary content plan. As busy as I can attest to Dr. Oye's business, I know what has got you to get him on the call today. So if you're as busy as he is, please be conscious of this. He's also an advocate for eating healthy because it's very important for the proper brain functioning. One last question before I get your final thoughts. What is the biggest myth about nutrition that you would like to debunk today?
There are so many myths I would like to debunk, not
as
just
it relates
one.
to brain health. They
all relate to brain health because that's like the powerhouse. They all relate to brain health. Now, the first one is carbs are evil. Please, if you're listening to this, carbs are not evil. They are your friends. And they are whole healthy carbs that you can take. Like we said, it's the balance in it. When you want to start a healthy journey, the first thing you need to put in place is your micronutrients and your macronutrients. So like we said, they are healthy carbs, whole carbs. They are oats that you can take that are not dangerous at all. They help to boost your immune system, provide you with the right antioxidants and the rest of it. So they are brown bread. There is our ofada rice. We are Nigerians, so please, let's not kick away that. That's an absolute carb that you can take to improve your brain health. We need to even start going to break down the nutritional content in ofada rice. That's the more reason everybody ought to be eating it, as against our basmati rice that that is overhyped. So please, that's one of the things I want to debunk. And the second one, let me stop at the second one, because if I continue, I posted some of them on my LinkedIn page. You can check. Is fat is not equals to fat. Neither is fat to another evil. The brain is actually 60% fat anatomically. So they are healthy fat you need to feed the brain with so that it can perform optimally and also, carry you on as you go to fulfilling your dreams and then your goals. And one of the best fats you can give your brain is avocado. Your salmon that you are calling that you are spending thousands of naira, you can get the same omega-3 in catfish. My goodness. Those are healthy fats that you can feed your brain with, as well as also improve your overall health. So fat is not equal to fat because they are healthy fats that are not detrimental to your health, and they are very, very good and rich. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ifeoma, for that. Those were two myths that you debunked. That is a very common one, and I must say thank you for even going further to explain why they are myths. And I would just like to get a final thought. I will start with you, and then we round up with Dr. Uji for his final thought and take home for everyone that is listening to this podcast.
Okay, thank you so much. And it's been a wonderful time having this conversation with you and Dr. Uyi. So my final thought is this. If you think healthy living is expensive, please try sickness. Dr. Uyi can attest to it that there is no discount in the hospital for treating things that are beyond acute. So the best advice I would give to anyone listening is to please seek prevention rather than seeking cure. Your brain deserves your utmost care if your life must advance. And like I always say, the best reward you can give yourself in old age is to be healthy. So whatever you can take from this final thought, please do well to always seek prevention, make intentional moves to eat healthy, live a very active lifestyle. Don't settle for inactivity because it can kill your brain cell faster than even what you take too. So these are very, very intertwined. So please and please, whatever you can, healthy living is not as expensive as sickness, and you must seek prevention instead of.
Thank you, Ifeoma. Dr. Uyi, as a medical practitioner, your final take home first.
Well, the brain is a living organ.
Mm.
It is an energy-dependent organ that deserves, that lives, that needs micronutrients, omega-3, that needs water. It deserves your care. This care has to be deliberate. It has to be conscious. We must do everything important to feed it. Once the brain is dead, we are gone. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Uyi. Once the brain is dead, we are gone. And that still takes us to what we say when we say that when we take care of our brain, we are ultimately contributing to our overall health. And that's all we have for today. Thank you so much, Dr. Uyi. Thank you so much, Ifeoma Judith. Thank you for making our time to be on this. So really appreciate this. And this has been a very brilliant conversation that I have with you. And that's all we have for today. Brain health as it relates to nutrition. And we're talking about neural networks, what we need to do to follow the neural networks. I hope you found this very insightful and quite helpful to me, and I'm sure you found it helpful too. And I'm sure it has inspired you to be conscious of your dietary content plan, make some small changes to the kind of diet that you take, and also towards a better brain health. And until next time, this is Dr. Abe trying to inspire you or encourage you to eat well, and also keep the Sanity drive at its peak. Thank you, and bye for now.
Same drive, I'm on the same drive. No more doubts, I'm feeling alive. With every mile